Oh, must be Wednesday night. The one and only Kevin Peterson.
Oh my God, you found me. How did you find me? I thought I was.
We always think we're good at hide and seek, but we're really never all that good. So, you're all over the internet. I mean, Kevin W. Peterson on Instagram. You got chronichope.us. You got this Chronic Hope Facebook group, which is just families. I'm somehow a part of it. I see you're adding people each and every day. You're welcoming new members. Just amazing, amazing stuff. So you try to hide, but you're just all over the internet, Kevin. So,
I really, you got me, man. I'm telling you. It's like, hey, by the way, on the graphic here where you have my Instagram, we got to change that to Kevin W. Peterson.
What is it?
It says the Chronic Hope Institute.
Oh, we got to change a bunch of things. But
all right.
Anyway, you cannot upset me because I don't know if I should be saying this out loud or but a client of mine or a mom, I didn't charge. I just helped get someone into treatment. I got a package today delivered to me. I went down to the front desk at my little place and opened it up, and lo and behold, it was the best apple pie that I've ever tasted in my life. So I know there's this line. I'm not a licensed, so I can accept gifts. Shouldn't probably be saying it on the internet, but I'll gladly go to jail for this apple pie. So this was just an amazing apple pie. That's all it takes for me to get jazzed up. So you know what? Life is good.
I would I don't know if I'd go to jail for apple pie, but I would definitely like some apple pie.
Well, I would complain once in jail, but sitting here, I would tell you that it's going to be really tough for me to not to go back for that second slice. But anyway, one way to keep me occupied is to start finding questions at you.
Okay, hold on. I'm still sharing our little thing here.
Oh my God! I mean,
just too many damn groups. I
told you about my apple pie story. Like, how can I stall? I mean,
I can multitask. Let's go. Hit me. What do you got?
Jeez, he's a man of many talents. But we do this every Wednesday. So if you have a question, fire them away. We're not putting names. You can remain anonymous. I mean, so this is what Family Matters. We do this each and every week. Ask questions, DM. If you're watching the show, fire a question. You'll get it live answered. If you're watching replay, send in, type in the comments, and we'll get to you this week. I hear what your suggestions are for substance abuse, but we have struggled for years with our 22-year-old son taking his prescribed meds, talking about night and day, violent outrages, trouble staying in school. Like, the family knows when he's not taking his meds. So, what are the boundaries, the simple Kevin Peterson Chronic Hope rules around someone that's not showing substance abuse,
struggling with severe mental health. Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually the same thing. It's the bottom line is we're going to set boundaries in 3 categories. Same thing as always, right? We're going to say no drugs, no alcohol. I realize you say his problems are only mental health. We're going to still set that boundary because we don't want things to get worse. The second category is going to be you need to have a job or go to school or some combination of the both, and we can set that boundary, and there's an accountability function. The last part, this is the important part, the behavior with the structure of the family, we're going to say, hey, here's the deal. You need to go to therapy. You need to take your meds. You need to go to your psychiatrist. And there has to be a regular accountability function surrounding this. So maybe a case manager or a coach, not mom and dad, but a coach that's handling this and working with him. And if he refuses to do so, then we're going to talk about escalating the level of services that he's getting. So he may have to go into a sober living environment for people that's struggling with mental health issues. He may have to go to treatment. There are definitely places like that available. But the bottom line is you still, as the family, have to set the boundaries. And you have to hold him accountable. Now, you're not going to kick somebody on the street that's got mental health issues, but you might find a place for them to live that has a higher level of care than you're capable of providing at home. Because if someone's got severe mental health and they refuse to take their meds, now they're putting themselves at harm. And I used to work in a psych unit for 3 years, and we had that happen. We got those people all the time. So yeah, the answer is very much the same. And I've done it before. I've worked on this environment many times, and it works perfectly. But again, it comes down to the family willing to hold the boundary. This isn't about how do we make him change. This is about how do we as a family change our system so we stay healthy to help him stay healthy. That's the big challenge.
I love when you get all jazzed up talking families and so forth. And, I get this question. I mean, I don't want, when it's, primary mental health and there's primary substance abuse, so that you would not be thrown in with a heroin addict or anything like that. There are facilities specific to primary mental health, not taking meds, managing, so forth. And then you got substance abuse more often than not, totally separate.
Yep.
I'm concerned that my mom is struggling mentally, emotionally, and physically due to my brother's addiction. He cut off communication with us, but my mom isn't sleeping, isn't eating, lost her joy, just a shell of a mom. What do you got?
Oh, that makes me so sad. And I get it. By the way, we have a term for that. It's called codependency. And there's a solution for that. And it's very much, the same thing that we look at for people that are struggling with addiction or mental health issues is that they need to acknowledge their situation and they need to get help. Your brother's addiction problem, whether he's sober, clean, whatever, is not going to magically make mom feel better. That's not how this works. Mom has to acknowledge that she has a problem and that she needs to work on her problem. Now, am I saying mom needs to go to treatment? No. Am I saying mom needs to go to 12-step meetings? No. Mom needs to go to therapy and start talking to someone that specializes and understands family of origin trauma and codependency, which are kind of the same thing, and start working on that, because that's where she's going to find her joy. We had this, you and I did this a couple of weeks ago, where somebody basically said, what's the most important thing I can do to help my loved one? And I said, get into your own recovery. That's the solution. Get into your own recovery. It's not about forcing them to do something. It's about you taking care of you. And see, mom's lost her joy. She can't sleep. She's suffering. Okay, but then mom has to take care of mom. And what that does, by the way, is it raises the bar in the family that, hey, this is how we take care. This is what we do. She's setting an example. And it's going to force everybody in the system to pay attention and start engaging. So that would be the answer. Yeah.
I see it all the time too. The same kind of mom that's sick. They just, whoever pops his head up, we get him into treatment, and that mom, dad, whoever it may be, still is now not sleeping, not eating, lost her joy. Because what, does Johnny have his socks? Does Johnny eating well? Is Johnny going to stay sober? Kevin's exactly right. If you're not going to the root of the issue, and the root of the issue isn't that person's addiction, it's a lot more other issues that Kevin can talk to you about.
Yep, exactly. Buy my book.
Wow. Third one coming soon, probably. What is the line between tough love and enabling? We're considering helping out our daughter's legal charges, which we've done 5-6 times. My husband says having a record will only hurt her. Then you got the question: do you bail her out? Do you to go to jail? What is the family's job to do? Everyone says it. My parents believed it. Don't get a record so you'll regret it down the road. So they kept me out, gave me that pillow for when I fell, so I didn't hit rock bottom. Some call enabling, but what's the rules?
So first question, what's the difference between tough love and enabling? I want to be really clear. I don't believe in tough love. It doesn't work. The old slam the door and just be like, I'm not talking to you until you get fixed, and you better come back with a wad of cash and a box of flowers. And I expect all snappy. And, that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You know what happens in this day and age when we tough love people? They die. So the difference that I want to challenge that first question is what's tough love or enabling? There's a whole thing in between that we need to talk about. And that is setting boundaries with empathy and compassion and accountability. That's the answer to that question. The answer isn't this or this. Okay. Now, on to the legal issue. And by the way, it's in my book. It's in Families in Addiction. It's in Parenting the Addicted Child. How to do that. Step by step by step, no questions asked. It's all right there. That's number one. Number two, on the legal issues. Here's the thing. I get where you're coming from, but you said 5 or 6 times. So what I would tell you, and I'm sure Jay might have the same experience, at some point you got to stop. Because at 5 or 6 times, and this looks like it's maybe the 7th time, she's not stopping. So because she knows you're going to pay for it. So I would say, look, darling, this is it. No mas. From here it's public defenders and jail, And I know that sounds horrible, but I'll also tell you something that a lot of families I work with have said. Well, we know he's safe in jail. Treatment and jail are the 2 places we know he's safe. We don't like jail, but it's better than the street. But as long as you continue to intervene, like Jay was saying, mom and dad would provide a pillow. As long as you continue to do that, you're sending her the message that we're going to keep doing this. So what is her incentive to change her behavior? Now, I don't know the specifics of your situation. I don't know what kind of charges she's looking at. Generally then what they do is they come back, well, she's facing murder charges. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't tell me that. It's like, trust me. That's like, sometimes these questions can be a setup where they're like, well, but you said, I'm like, yeah, but you didn't tell me everything, and don't do that, So my position would be at some point you have to say no. And you can say no with love and compassion in your heart. It doesn't have to be slam the door on her face and never talk to her again. But you got to say, sorry, we're tapped out. We can't help you anymore. And we're not doing this. If there are kids involved, that's a whole different conversation. I think, I work with a lot of families that take on the kids. But that's my position.
You know what? I think I just had this idea. Like, we're going to get Chronic Hope or Kevin Peterson t-shirts. We're going to have like a sandwich. Because the bread, 2 pieces of bread is tough love and enabling. And so I think here's the problem. Here's what I'm going to say is there's a lot of meat in between the sandwich. I'll go back to my sandwich reference, but like you were saying, there's a lot of room. But there's a lot of people that think just saying no equals tough love. And what I would like, you said it, there's a lot of meat in between tough love and enabling, but yet too many people think just saying no and getting a public defender is tough love. That's not, because there's a lot of things attached to that. Correct? Right.
Well, and what's in between is accountability. And from accountability comes, rewards and consequences. And so that's what we're really like you said, there's going to be tough love on one sandwich on one side, and then there's going to be enabling on the other sandwich, or what we're going to put is codependency on the other one. And in between, what we're going to put is boundaries, accountability, and structure. And it's going to be really simple and straightforward.
I can see the t-shirts being printed already. I'm just telling you. We've had to move to a different city this summer because our son was unable to attend the local high school due to fighting and drugs. Yet our son is upset that we moved. He's taking 0% responsibility. Here's just the mom and dad. I believe it's 16 or 17-year-old, just really struggling with an upset, frustrated son. Probably don't get these a lot, do you?
Oh, never seen that before. I really wish I had been working with this family, because the conversation would have been like, "You're not moving." No, absolutely not.
I think that gets overlooked. I mean, she starts off by saying we moved different cities due to our. All right.
Yeah. So we're gonna start there with no, and then If he's getting kicked out of school because of drugs and fighting, then it's time for him to go to treatment and then consider, a long-term program where they're going to take him on and put him, and because he needs to be in a higher level of care environment, And the way I would do this with him is I would sit him down and be like, we love you. You're our son and we love you. In the next 30 days, you have a choice. It's total sobriety, and we're going to do testing and and second one's going to be accountability at school. And so you're going to go to all your classes, you're going to turn in all your homework, and you get good grades. And the last one is behavior with the family. And if you don't have that stuff squared away in 30 days, you're not staying here, because it's not our job to allow you to destroy our family. And he obviously needs a higher level of care. And I don't mean for 30 days. I mean for 6 months, 9 months, or a year. That's the only solution that's going to happen here. It's the only way this problem is going to get solved. And between Jay and I, we can come up with a dozen places that would be thrilled to work with this young man. And we definitely know great places that take insurance, don't take insurance, that are long-term. There's just so many options and so many opportunities. But you're not doing him any favors by moving and, we're going to start over here like nothing happened. No, it's time to hold him accountable. There's a theme today. And the theme today is accountability. And the family has to start holding the person accountable. And I say that from personal experience. I say that from professional experience. That's how you impact change into a family system, not by moving and trying a different school. So that's my thoughts.
So, here's a funny story, and this. It's not to then make light of it. I love these questions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I got this email a couple days ago, and I was with a couple of people that not necessarily they know what I do. They're but they're normies, whatever it may be. And I was kind of saying it out loud, like, "Oh, this mom is talking about moving cities because and I must have said it out loud." And she was like, "Wait a second, they moved because of their son." And I'm just like, yeah, thinking nothing of it. And so I sometimes have to take a time out because this is becoming too normal for me. And I'm glad that you and I kind of read this, because this to me is like, oh, this is another family. If we're not saying it's a family disease, then that is the definition of a family disease, basically, when you have mom and dad saying, you know what, we need to move to a different city. Why is that? Well, Johnny can't go to this high school, and so we need to, no one raised their hand and said, hey, maybe let's look at Johnny. Nope, they moved different cities. And so this is what I'm talking. It's not to make light of it, but this is a family disease, and this is the definition. And I'll admit it, sometimes I get caught up in it. I'm just writing this email out like it's nothing. And someone from the outside is like, wait a second, why is this family moving cities? And I'm just like, welcome to addiction, substance abuse. That's why how Kevin Peterson is not the new Brene Brown is beyond me, because we need to start talking directly to families, because this is a family disease. And I love Brene Brown. I'm not trying to say that, because Brene, I read her stuff every day. But Kevin, boom, we need to start working. This is why we do Family Matters.
Yep. No, I agree. This is exactly why we do the Family Matters. And I don't want these parents to feel like we're coming down on them, because that's not at all. I totally get where you're coming from. Of course, that's your solution. And that makes perfect sense. But, what I really want to do is help people shift their perspective, not get a bigger hammer. A bigger hammer isn't the solution. The solution is you got to change tools. It's not because you're not hitting the damn, nail hard enough. That's not working. What we got to do is take a giant step back and rearrange the way we're doing things, and just start from scratch and be like, new deal. No drugs, no alcohol. We're going to test you daily, and this is how it's going to go. You got to go to class. You got to turn in your homework. You got to get good grades, and you got 30 days to get it together. And you got to start behaving, because I guarantee you that behavior at home is terrible. And the truth is, we're going to have a weekly meeting. We're going to review all this stuff. And you're either going to get it together or you're not. And if you're not, that's okay. That tells us we need to go to the next level. That's okay. That's all right. You know, but this isn't one of those things where you need to grab harder. You know, that's not going to work. So, and I think that's everybody's instinct. I mean, it was my parents' instinct. I know it was your parents' instinct, but it didn't work, and it never will. So,
yeah, I mean, there was people like we kind of cut off contact. Mom and dad didn't. You know what I mean, because of the stuff that I've done or they did, or word got out about our arrest that I have, and so it's not. I mean, this is not just, you know, pick on this family. This is. I mean, it worked in my family. I mean, you know, so forth. I mean, just it's across the landscape. I'm really kind of making light of it's becoming the norm in the landscape, and we need to start. By you asking this question is making a crack in the landscape. That's what I want to acknowledge you for, because that means, hey, we want to do something different because this doesn't feel right. We're putting a crack in the landscape. So that's what I want to acknowledge. I want to make light of this just seems like a normal thing. Let's change the narrative. Let's not have that become an unusual thing. Yeah. Family roots are there. Like, I could only imagine if my parents were like, well, we got to leave this house. And everyone's like, what do you mean we got to leave this house? Like, we did everything. Like, we still got knobs on, we're all three of us, like, we're growing up, and they're like, no, Jay got another DUI arrest, I don't know if it may have crossed my mom and dad's, mind, because they, but we got it. We're changing the narrative. And that's what we're trying to do every week. So we do this every Wednesday. So, and I promise I won't have any apple pie before the show next week, because I get worked up, and this apple pie must have worked me up. But I love talking. I love getting these questions, and Kevin just kind of just sits back and is like, oh, no big deal. So it's like,
well, and here's the thing, and this is really important. Every family sits there in silence and thinks we're the only ones dealing with this. And at the very least, if what you get from the fact that Jay and I go through this every week and have these great conversations is that, oh my God, you're not the only ones dealing with this. We understand, and we have a solution for you. And you're not alone. And we get it. I've been doing this privately since 2014, and 11 is when I started working at the community mental health. It is the same thing. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter what country you're from. It's all the same. It just walks in the door all the same. And the solution is the same. And that's what we're here for, is to help you. Bottom line, that's what we're here for. So, well,
we're doing it, and we're changing the narrative. We'll do this again next week. We'll clock out. Kevin, you're off the clock, but let's do this again next week, Wednesday. Can't wait to see you next week.